our mission, basically, is to help you wade through this pretty dense fiction. We want to help you get a solid handle on the main mysteries, figure out what makes these characters tick, without getting lost in all the, narrative twists.
Exactly. Think of it like we're cutting a path for you through the shadows of this place. Bisky said.
Okay. And this isn't just a summary, right? It's fiction.
Oh, definitely. And it's thick with weird stuff happening, people telling the story who maybe aren't entirely reliable.
Yeah, you get that feeling.
And just this general sense of unease that hangs over everything. So, yeah, let's try and unravel what's really going on.
Okay, so where do we start? It seems like Andre is our way in initially.
Seems like it.
We first see him trying to connect with this little girl. She only says tato. That's the Ukrainian word for dad, right?
Right, dad. And she just claps.
Yeah, just clapping. It's this brief moment. Seems almost innocent, but there's something a bit off-key about it, wouldn't you say?
It really is.
Yeah.
That little interaction, it immediately sets this tone. Like things aren't quite right. The kid's limited response, the repetition, it just creates this subtle, strange vibe. Like beneath the surface of normal life in Busky Sad, something else is going on.
And then almost immediately the scene shifts. We're with Valera.
Yeah, Valera's interviewing this guy, Nixon.
Nixon, right. The ex-con. Tattoos everywhere, but he's trying really hard to look respectable.
And Valera finds this amusing, which is, a bit dark in itself.
It is, but then they have this quick chat, Valera and Andre, about good and evil.
Ah, yes. The idea of people crossing a line.
That feels important, doesn't it? Like the author's putting down a marker saying, this is the kind of world you're entering.
That's a really crucial point, I think. That early conversation, it hints that moral boundaries here are, well, blurry, maybe deliberately crossed.
Yeah.
It makes you, the reader, start questioning the whole setup. Are these characters operating in a normal moral world? Probably not.
And right after that, we get that really unsettling scene. Same little girl, but now there's this man described as an unknown uncle. The text uses the Ukrainian term neznayomy diadyko.
Right, the unknown uncle. And the girl sees this light in the distance.
And she's just drawn to it like a magnet. Her mother tells her not to go, but she does anyway, leaves the yard, just captivated. That light, it feels significant.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a powerful image.
Yeah.
Like irresistible temptation, almost mythical. It taps into that human vulnerability, doesn't it? Being drawn to the unknown, something that overrides even, your mom telling you no.
Or common sense.
Exactly. In this story, that light, yeah, it could easily symbolize some kind of dangerous lure or maybe some hidden force pulling the strings. And
both. Okay, moving on then to the mystery around these phone calls and a folder that keeps showing up.
Yes, this is where it gets very cloak and dagger.
We have an investigator, Slidshi Mikituk, in the text questioning Andre about 4 phone calls.
From a woman right before she apparently killed herself.
Yeah. And Andre claims they hadn't spoken in ages, says he was driving to a funeral when she called. It sounds, well, a bit too neat, maybe. Carefully worded.
It really does. The investigator zeroes in on those calls, and immediately Andre is under suspicion. Why did she call him 4 times if they were estranged?
Good question.
And his explanation, being on the way to a funeral, maybe it's true, but it's also vague enough to deflect, It makes him seem like he might be holding something back. Maybe not a fully reliable narrator for us.
And then folder. This cardboard folder full of photos of dead girls.
Ugh, yeah. Grim stuff.
Andre knows he put it on the sofa. He remembers doing it, but then it's back in his kitchen.
And his first thought is someone's messing with him, playing a trick.
Which just ramps up the paranoia, doesn't it? Suggests someone is deliberately trying to rattle him.
Or connect him to those deaths.
Right, so what do we make of that? Is it real, or is Andre losing his grip?
It's classic suspense building. Could be Andre's reality fraying, maybe from past trauma, maybe someone's manipulating him, or, like he thinks, it's a deliberate act by someone else, an external force trying to destabilize him.
The creepiness just keeps escalating, these bizarre encounters he has.
Oh, yeah, like the nun in the cafe.
The nun drinking heavily, which is just an image.
Definitely unexpected. And then the barman chimes in with these cryptic warnings, something about a hunter and a black ice hole.
Very suggestive. But what could they actually mean in this place, Busky said?
It feels like we're getting glimpses of some hidden, darker layer of reality there. The hunter could be a predator, obviously. Human, or maybe something else.
And the black ice hole.
Sounds like danger, death, maybe a point of no return. And the way the barman says it, all veiled. It suggests people are too scared, or maybe forbidden, to talk openly about the real threats.
And he's on a train, sees this red-haired girl reading a book.
And the title?
Right. Down, down, down. Will this fall never end? Incredibly bleak.
Especially as Andre at that moment starts looking through his own folder, the one with the potentially disturbing photos.
It's like the whole atmosphere of Busky Sad is closing in, inescapable.
Yeah, that book title is such a potent symbol for the despair, the feeling of just falling that seems to define this place. And putting it right next to Andre looking at his folder, it connects him to that feeling, like he's caught in that same downward spiral.
The focus then shifts quite abruptly to this sign being put up. It says, Iro Busky Sad.
The classic town pride sign, yeah. But it's being done in a hurry.
And we meet someone called the Beast, who's really anxious about being seen.
Which immediately feels wrong, doesn't it? This supposedly loving message, but the guy involved is scared of people seeing him install it.
Yeah, it's like pulling back a curtain on something ugly hidden behind the cheerful facade.
That contrast, the sign versus the beast's fear, creates this instant dramatic irony. It suggests they're trying hard to project this happy image that's just not true. He clearly has something to hide.
And then it gets much darker. The Beast finds Christina, unconscious in the snow.
And we hear his thoughts. He actually considers making sure she's dead.
Because he's terrified she'll reveal his name, his identity.
It's chilling. It confirms the violence simmering under the surface, and we see a perpetrator desperate to cover his tracks. His fear is driving him towards murder.
Then we get these hints of chaos, maybe conspiracy. Sabota, who we figure out later is a cop,
Right.
is talking to a foreman, a brigadier, about delays with that sign, and Pavel Borisovich, the mayor, is apparently unhappy.
Even that small detail, the sign delay, it tells you something about the power structure. The mayor's displeasure matters a lot.
Yeah, it suggests a rigid hierarchy, the mayor pulling the strings. Keeping up appearances seems really important there, maybe more important than other things.
Potentially. And then there's that almost funny bit, darkly funny, with Zakhar Nomenko's phone dying.
Right, and Sabota has to rush off from a family birthday party because of it.
It seems trivial, maybe a moment of lightness, but in a story like this, even small things can have big consequences, right? Disrupt plans, lead to unexpected meetings.
That's a good point. Everything feels connected.
What contributes to that feeling, yeah.
Yeah.
That even tiny details might be pieces of the puzzle.
There's also this fleeting image, really powerful though, of a small bird saving its chick, even while it's caught by a fox.
Ah, yeah, that's quite stark. Primal instinct, survival against the odds.
It feels like maybe a tiny glimmer of hope, or just a reminder of how brutal things are.
Maybe both. It's this moment of resilience, maternal instinct, right in the middle of all the darkness. A poignant contrast.
Then the lights come back on in the town square, the sign's up. But Nomenko, the guy whose phone died, he looks terrified, glancing around.
As if he saw something during the blackout that others didn't.
Exactly. So what did he see? Why is he scared? Adds another layer to him.
His reaction definitely suggests the darkness might have hidden something disturbing. And now that the lights are on, he's seen a truth he doesn't want to face. He knows something.
Then Andre has this encounter with a female seller, a Pronovchinia, and this mysterious figure, the man in red, Cholovigik u Chervonimu.
And this man in red seems to know Andre's name.
Yeah, and makes some weird reference to Soviet cinema. It's like Andre is being watched, anticipated.
That's really unsettling. The man in red knowing him, the odd comment, it feels surreal, maybe ominous, like there are people here operating outside the norm who know more than they should. Hints at a deeper game being played.
And then Karitin, we learn, that's the man in red's name, he delivers this absolutely chilling line about the old sugar factory.
Yeah, that line is something else.
He says, how many throats were cut for the chance to lay a paw on it, but in fact it laid a paw on everything and everyone.
Wow, that paints a picture, doesn't it? Place soaked in violence, corruption, a past that's still very much alive and kicking.
The factory becomes this symbol.
Exactly. A symbol of Busky Sad's dark history, its legacy. Karitin's basically saying this isn't new. The greed, the violence, it's corrupted the whole community. What's happening now is just the latest chapter in a long, bloody story.
The story then shifts focus to Nadia, the missing girl, and all the conflicting stuff around her disappearance.
We hear sounds in the dark, hinting she's in danger.
And Andre, our guide, seems conflicted. He came to find a killer, maybe connected to those photos of dead girls he found.
But he also seems reluctant to be there when Nadia is found. Almost like he doesn't want to see it.
What do you think that tells us about him, his motivation?
It's complex. Maybe it's a struggle between wanting justice for the past victims and being afraid of what finding Nadia will mean. Maybe fear of what he'll discover or fear of his own inadequacy. Or maybe just wanting to avoid facing the full horror of this place.
Then Hala questions him. How does he know about other missing people?
And then she drops a bombshell.
Hmm.
They're not actively investigating Nadia's disappearance anymore.
Which is shocking. It suggests someone decided to just stop looking, a cover-up, or just complete apathy from the authorities.
It's deeply disturbing either way. Stopping the investigation implies a massive failure, maybe protecting someone powerful, maybe suppressing the truth. It reinforces that suspicion that things are being manipulated here.
And if that wasn't weird enough, Hala mentions a man with a painted face. Choloviuk is Nemalovanim Lysim.
Just bizarre, almost nightmarish, introduces this really sinister, maybe even supernatural feel to it all.
How could that even mean?
Well, that was a real person in disguise, a symbol of evil, something else entirely. The strangeness just amps up the dread.
Things then turn violent with Gala, a woman who seems to be self-harming.
Andre and a nurse, Ksenia, step in.
And Ksenia quietly reveals Gala is a serial suicide attempter, just another layer of suffering in this town.
Yeah, that encounter really highlights the despair, the psychological distress that seems so widespread in Busky Sad. Ksenia's comment points to deep trauma, maybe a lack of support.
And Andre gets frustrated with Suboda, the cop, his attitude about Nadia's disappearance.
Right, Suboda just brushes it off, blames Nadia's mental disability, the weather.
It reinforces that lack of concern, the potential prejudice we talked about.
Absolutely. Suboda's dismissal, based on her vulnerability, it shows this real lack of empathy, maybe systemic bias. It feels like part of why these tragedies keep happening.
Then suddenly Andre gets this mysterious phone call.
Not from Valera, who he was expecting.
Oh, some woman's voice. Asking if the killer's been identified. Unknown number.
Who is she? How does she know? Adds another layer of intrigue. Suggests Andre is being watched, and others have a stake in this, maybe working from the shadows.
The conversation between Andre and Suboda then shifts to other disappearances. Andre brings up the possibility of a maniac.
And Suboda shuts that down. Hard.
Vehemently dismisses it. Then gives Andre this really unsettling smile and a warning.
Yeah, that feels like Andre hit a nerve, like he's getting too close to a truth Suboda desperately wants buried.
Suboda's strong reaction, the smile, the threat. It screams that he knows more than he's saying. He seems determined to control the story, stop Andre from digging deeper. Andre then goes looking for food, gets directed to a cafe named Minotaur.
Even the name feels significant, right? Minotaur. Labyrinths, hidden monsters.
Definitely sets a mood. He's watching the bartender, the barmenka, trying to suss her out, maybe get some information about an acquaintance, a Znaomia.
Yeah, he's testing the waters, trying to figure out who we can trust, who might know something. In this town, you'd have to be careful.
The bartender asks about the acquaintance's age, but then Suboda walks in, cuts the conversation short.
Convenient timing for Suboda.
But we learn a lot about her quickly. Her brother died, her father struggles with alcohol. She has these superstitious rituals for his sobriety.
It's a quick info dump, but it shows how interconnected everyone is in this small place. Shared histories, past traumas, the brother's death, the father's drinking. These could all tie back into the main story somehow. And her superstitions add another layer to her maybe relying on rituals in a world that feels out of control.
She describes her father, Zakar, as compassionate Zalis Livy. Says he's always helping people.
Which contrasts sharply with the hints we got earlier that Zakar might be involved in something shady. Creates this ambiguity. Is he really a good guy? Or is it a facade?
You never know in Busky Sad, it seems. Andre then confronts Suboda directly. About Gala's apartment, how did someone get through the locked door?
And Suboda has no explanation, which is incredibly suspicious.
Then he warns Andre again, don't mention maniacs, maniaci, or kidnappings, Vicardenia, until the investors arrive.
Wow, that just lays it bare, doesn't it? The town's priorities, money over justice, image over safety, chilling.
Andre finally gets to meet the mayor, Pavel Borisovich.
And the mayor puts on a welcoming face, but it feels fake. Especially his concern for Nadia.
Right, superficial. Andre cuts right through it, though. Says he's also there about murders.
Good for him. Sets a more confrontational tone right away. Disrupts the mayor's little performance.
Andre starts trying to profile the killer based on what he's seeing. Thinks it might be someone who seems pleasant, helpful on the surface, but lacks a sense of humor. maybe because of a bad childhood.
He's actively trying to make sense of it, put the pieces together. Interesting that he seems to rule out the mayor at this stage.
Yeah, maybe a genuine deduction, maybe too quick to judge. He's using his analytical skills, trying to find a pattern.
He then asks about the power outage during the sign installation, the montage. Wants to know who the mayor was talking to on the phone right then.
And the answer?
Zakanomenko.
Directly linking Zakar to that potentially suspicious moment raises more questions about him.
Definitely. Focusing on that specific moment, the power cut, the phone call,
Yeah.
Andrei's connecting dots that seem important.
The mayor then shows Andrei a photo, a post-mortem photo, postmortnus vitlianu.
Andrei thinks it might be one of the victims he's looking for.
Initially, yeah, but the mayor says no, identifies her as Rogach HM, a nurse, a midsestra, but he doesn't sound completely sure.
That uncertainty again, it just adds to the feeling that information here is unreliable, maybe deliberately misleading. Even the mayor isn't sure who's who in the photos of the dead.
Then there's this short, almost poetic bit describing a child's senses hating nail clipping, this overwhelming feeling called nevlovim otse, this elusive something.
Interesting shift. It's evocative, maybe gives insight into how someone like Nadia experiences the world, a different perspective.
Could be. It emphasizes vulnerability, maybe sensory details that are important to her wherever she is.
Andrei then goes exploring underground, these confusing passages. He calls for Nadia, but there's no echo.
Feels symbolic, doesn't it? Going down into the hidden parts of Busky Sad, where the secrets might be buried.
Absolutely. The descent into the earth, the lack of echo, it emphasizes his isolation, the feeling that the answers are deep down and hard to find, maybe a futile search.
He meets Nadia's grandmother, Maria Hurgivna. She seems unwell, maybe hungover.
And Sabota talks to her in this really patronizing way.
Yeah. There's mention of a friend, Uksi, from the medical station, the medpunkt. Uksi apparently contacted the grandmother about Christina, but the grandmother just dismisses it all.
The whole interaction feels wrong, unhelpful. The grandmother's state, Subota's attitude, her dismissal of concerns, it raises questions about what she knows or what she's capable of saying, and Uksi's name comes up again, connected to Christina. More threads in the web.
Andrei bumps into Karatin again, the man in red.
Biden comments on Andrei looking better.
Yeah?
Bit odd.
Yeah. Andrei vents his frustration. Nobody's cooperating. He's convinced Nadia was kidnapped.
And Karatin just hits him with that cynicism again, right?
Right.
Basically asks, why are you surprised no one cares?
Exactly. Like Karatin's rubbing his nose in the town's apathy. Maybe it's corruption. Telling him his expectations are naive here.
And Karatin does this sudden pivot. Ask Andrei about his faith. Specifically, belief in the resurrection of Christ, Voskusinia Christo.
So weird. Right before offering him a ride and introducing him to some young man, a Molody Sholovic, who's supposedly in the know, Ukursi versus Soho.
It just elevates things, doesn't it? Beyond a simple crime story. Hints at spiritual dimensions, maybe hidden knowledge. That theological question feels very deliberate.
And introducing someone in the know, like Andrei's being guided, maybe manipulated onto a certain path.
Back in his room, Andrei finds something else. Hidden drawings. On the wall, behind the sofa.
Whoa! It suggests a hidden history, right? Something literally covered up in his own space.
Yeah, potent symbol, repressed memories, a secret narrative, someone else's story hidden away.
Then things get even more disturbing. Andrei wants to photograph a body. Why? To prove to someone the person isn't alive, despite what they are claiming.
They are trying to deceive him. He even worries people think he's insane, psych.
It really underlines the manipulation, the gaslighting he's experiencing, and the ambiguity of who they are just adds to the paranoia. Is it real, or is his mind playing tricks? The lines are so blurred.
Andrei keeps digging, though. Goes back to the Manitor Cafe. Thinks about how hard it actually is to pull off big conspiracies, based on his old military experience in the Legion.
That's interesting. He's skeptical about these grand schemes, even as everything around him seems coordinated and deceptive.
That disconnect is fascinating. It highlights just how strange and possibly orchestrated events in Busky Sad really are, if even someone with his background finds it hard to believe.
He confronts Zakar, asks him why he's forgotten Gala.
And Zakar denies even knowing her.
Andrei's frustration just boils over. It seems like everyone is forgetting things. This collective amnesia, it's becoming a central, deeply creepy part of the mystery.
It really is. It suggests something is fundamentally wrong with memory itself in this town. Is it manipulation? Shared trauma suppression? Zakar denying Gala after they clearly interacted just deepens the suspicion.
And then Zakar finds something himself, torn pages from his own diary. With violent poetry on them, he has no memory of writing it.
Oh, wow. That makes the amnesia even more personal, more terrifying for Zakar. A gap in his own memory linked to violence.
It's chilling, like the memory loss isn't just external manipulation, it's hitting people internally too.
Yeah.
Maybe linked to things they've done, things they can't consciously recall.
Zakar then reveals he starts a new diary every year, and he's found entries in old ones describing people dying.
People he knows.
Right. But then later entries in the same diaries describe meeting those exact same people as if they were new acquaintances.
What? That's horrifying.
He's terrified it's going to happen to him. It suggests this nightmarish cycle of loss and forgetting, where histories are just erased and rewritten. His fear makes it feel very real, very immediate.
Andre then finds a dossier labeled arson.
Looks like Arson's confession inside.
Yeah, and the details are disturbing. Washing blood, his feelings for Ksenia, this weird incident where a rabbit bit him.
Seems to point the finger directly at arson, doesn't it? Provides a suspect, a confession, almost too neatly.
Maybe, but the details, the blood, Ksenia, it sounds plausible. Makes arson a prime suspect right there.
But then we see Arson. He's watching the mayor's office and a window somewhere else with a flickering TV.
And Karitan, the man in red, confronts him. Arson seems like he's stalking someone.
So who's he watching? The mayor, someone else. And what's Karitan's role? Is he controlling Arson? Manipulating him? Adds another layer of complexity.
Then Andre and Sabota are looking at some kind of art installation.
And Andre uses his observation skills again. Sees a sugar cube shaped like a die, connects it to a place under the factory.
Mistakes a blue satellite dish for a tray. Sees a name on a bracelet worn inside out. He's finding clues in abstract things.
It shows how sharp he is, trying to find logic in this surreal place. The sugar cube, the dish, they become symbols. The bracelet's more concrete, though. Potential evidence. Sabota even starts filling out a crime scene report, a protocol.
Andre then confronts Ksenia about her pretending gala never existed.
How does she react?
She gets really distressed, asks him to leave, says she thought he was there to help.
That confirms her strange behavior earlier, suggests she's either in on the denial or just terrified. Her hope that he was there to help hints she might want to break free, but can't or won't.
Then things escalate. Sabota pulls a gun on Andre.
Whoa. Okay, so Andre's definitely in immediate danger. Sabota's desperate to silence him. Shows how volatile things are.
Right after that, the mayor shows up, offers Andre this over-the-top support. Feels really suspicious.
Leads him to some kind of gathering.
Yeah. And the doctor, Ilarion Pavliuk, starts talking about someone being nervous, looking for Gala, clearly meaning Andre.
Trying to discredit him.
Seems like it. And then the crowd joins in. They all claim nobody knows Gala. Flat-out denial, contradicting everything we've seen.
It's blatant. Coordinated denial. Gaslighting Andre in public. The mayor's fake support. The doctor's comments. The crowd.
Yeah.
It's a performance.
But then Zakar bursts onto the stage, unexpectedly.
What does he do?
Claims Andre's telling the truth. Says they all dismissed Gala's death. And he thinks it's connected to a fire in the village, the Saliche.
Wow. He just shatters that wall of denial. Acknowledges the truth. And the fire. Suggests some past trauma is linked to all this memory loss and current events.
The mayor tries to regain control, tells this really bizarre story about his mother and a cake with thick layers tovstikorji.
A cake? Where did that come from?
No idea. And then he asks Andre, again in that pointed question about believing in the resurrection of Christ. It's just unsettlingly random.
Yeah, the non sequitur cake story, the sudden theology, it adds to the surreal, illogical vibe. Is he trying to disorient Andre? Does it mean something deeper? Hard to say.
We get another quick flash of Nadia's perspective then. Disoriented, feels like she's falling, clinging to the idea of pineapple smells, a can she found.
Just emphasizes her vulnerability, her desperate fight to survive in whatever darkness she's in. Those small comforts are all she has.
Meanwhile, Zakar keeps warning about methane buildup, a fire risk.
But the mayor just dismisses him.
Yeah, feels like deliberate foreshadowing, doesn't it? Ignoring a clear danger because of arrogance, setting up a potential disaster. Andre
and Ksenia then talk about Christina's missing gold bracelet. Andre thinks Ksenia knows where it is.
Wants to use it to get information, even though Oxy might get suspicious. Shows Andre's still pushing, trying every angle.
He's determined. And his willingness to involve Ksenia, despite the risks, shows he's maybe starting to rely on her, or sees her as key.
Then Andre drops a bombshell on Ksenia. He confesses, I killed a child. Yabibiv Ditanu tells her about something traumatic from his past in Afghanistan.
Whoa, okay. That adds a huge layer to Andre. Deep-seated guilt. Is that what's driving him now?
Could be. It gives us insight into his inner turmoil. Maybe explains his relentless pursuit of justice here, or why he came to Busky Sad in the first place. A need for atonement, perhaps?
Andre tells Ksenia his plan. Confront Boxy about the bracelet. Ksenia leaves, says she needs to get something.
While she's gone, Andre stumbles upon the mayor's hidden garage.
What's in it?
Just tons of stuff. Unaccounted for goods. Look like blatant corruption, maybe worse. Concrete proof the mayor's dirty.
Reinforces that idea.
Huh.
The people in power here are not trustworthy. Ksenia leaving just then also creates suspense. What's she getting?
Before we find out, the mayor gets a phone call and has this extreme emotional reaction, like he's breaking down.
Things are unraveling for him.
And then Oxy shows up at Andre's room. Just as the mayor's losing it, everything feels like it's coming to a head.
Definitely feels like a confrontation is imminent. The timing is intense.
Andre wakes up later, and the boorman from the train is just sitting in his room.
What? Just sit there.
Yeah. Asking him if he found the killer yet. It's so surreal. Suggests the barman is way more involved than he seemed.
Or maybe not entirely. Real. His reappearance is unsettling. What does he want?
They have this philosophical chat about injustice. The barman uses this saying, Jupiter gets everything he wants, and the bull gets a whip at best.
Captures the power imbalance in Busky Sad perfectly.
Then the barman does something truly bizarre. Takes off his glasses. His eye sockets are empty. Just black holes. Then he offers the glasses to Andre.
Okay, that's deeply disturbing. Pushes the story way beyond realism. The empty eyes. Symbolic of blindness. Literal or metaphorical. At the heart of the town's darkness. And offering the glasses to Andre.
Wow. We then get these fragmented flashbacks, Arson grabbing Ksenia violently.
The crowd at the Iarbrowski Sadie sign event looking unsettling.
Sabota acting weird, thinking obsessively about Ksenia.
Failed calls to Christina's phone.
These glimpses fill in some gaps, hint at motivations, show the underlying tensions, violence, obsession, failed connections.
Ksenia finally comes clean, admits she saw Christina last on Sunday evening at the medical station. Contradicts what was said before.
And then the big one. She tearfully confesses she burned the criminal case file.
There it is. Major turning point. Exposes her complicity in the cover-up.
Yeah.
But why? Who was she protecting? Herself? Someone else?
Sabota returns, furious about his tires being slashed, sinking deeper into alcoholism.
And Andre confronts him head-on, accuses him of destroying evidence, says he's the suspect in the serial killings.
It's dramatic. Seems like the end for Sabota. He's unraveling.
He gets replaced too, right? New police officer, Dolnishny.
Yeah. But Sabota doesn't just disappear. He's paranoid, feels watched in his old office, still caught in the web.
Suggests the forces here operate beyond job titles. He's still trapped by what he knows or did.
He can't sleep, haunted by recurring dreams about a nun.
The nun again.
Then he finds photos apparently showing him committing murders.
What? Is it real?
Yeah.
Or is someone planting them? More psychological manipulation. Or repressed memories surfacing. Blurs the line completely.
He gives this rambling confession, tries to paint himself as, flawed but good, fighting evil and Busky Sad.
Self-justification. Delusional, maybe, given everything else we've seen.
Yeah.
Highly unreliable.
Andre doesn't buy it either. Still thinks someone else is involved. Maybe whoever swapped bracelets with Christina.
He and Ksenia share a cigarette. She holds his hand like she's scared. Shows maybe a fragile bond forming there. Fear and uncertainty bringing them together.
Then another totally bizarre story surfaces. About a woman named Dora, whose kerchief Kustinka smelled of urine.
Okay, and?
Apparently Dora told someone they'd be on TV soon. And the mayor seems worried when he hears this.
Just layer upon layer of strangeness. What does Dora's comment mean? Why does it bother the mayor? Hints at more distorted reality, maybe being watched.
The mayor talks to Arson's mother. She describes Arson visiting, tending flowers.
Sounds normal enough.
But also this really disturbing habit of cutting his nails and putting his fingers in the soil.
Okay, not normal. Paints Arson as deeply disturbed. And the mother is just in denial about it all. Typical Busky Sad, maybe, overlooking the unsettling truths.
And the mayor keeps pushing her, asking repeatedly if Arson has a sense of humor.
Echoing Andre's profile of the killer. The lack of humor. So the mayor is actively assessing Arson using that same criterion.
And then chaos, people fleeing, maybe an explosion.
And Andre sees video footage. Christina, clearly running from her killer, already bloody before the power cuts out on the recording.
Crucial visual proof. She was attacked, she tried to escape, and the power cut feels deliberate, hiding the killer.
Sabota mentions Zakar is good with electricity.
And they talk about the timing again, Zakar's phone dying right when the mayor needed him for the lights. Suspicious.
Also revealed, Christina and Zakhar knew each other. But Ksenia didn't know that.
And Ksenia herself makes some slightly odd movements pouring drinks around this time. All these little things pointing towards Zakhar, or at least suggesting he knows more.
Svoboda describes arson as reckless, doesn't care about cameras or witnesses, uses that analogy. The killer's like a wolf, the locals are sheep who secretly prey on the weak.
Grim view of the town's social dynamics, predatory instincts hiding beneath the surface.
Then Oxy asks that menacing question. Was Christina a sheep?
Reveals a darker side to Oxy. Meanwhile, Svoboda gets drunk fast, makes callous remarks, shows his moral decay.
Svoboda also offers a motive for Zakhar, different from Arson's recklessness. He says Zakhar is driven by envy. Zavist.
Suggests a different kind of darkness, long simmering resentment maybe, not just impulsive violence.
Then Karisin, the man in red, meets Zakhar in the empty Minotaur Cafe. Karatin shows Zakhar a water-damaged dossier. Inside, Leonid Nomenko's passport, Zakhar's brother. Zakhar is visibly shocked.
Okay, this feels huge. Karatin knows Zakhar's past, using it against him. The brother connection is key.
We learned Zakhar was deeply envious of Leonid, resented his brother's seemingly better life, his stuff, even saw his house in a magazine, Azurnali. Establishes a powerful motive. Jealousy.
And even though Zakhar had his own successes, fixed engines, built a bathhouse, a lasagna, he remained envious. Zamvislivier. It's deep-seated.
Suggests the envy never went away, always shaping him.
Then another quick, surreal image. The nun, probably Ksenia, rescuing a rabbit, calling it Bad Rabbit. Pohani Krolik, the barman, is with her.
Just adds to the strangeness, and hints again at this connection between Ksenia as the nun and the barman.
Ksenia seems scared, shows the mayor photos of herself, thinks she's being watched, might be next.
Then she gives Svoboda sleeping pills, Snodini.
So she fears for her life, distrusts Svoboda. Drugging him suggests she sees him as a threat or an obstacle. She's taking steps to protect herself.
Then she acts like she's being controlled again. By the unseen nun's influence, it seems. Takes keys from Svoboda's pocket, the nun figure pulling the strings again. Ksenia seems to have lost her agency. Taking the keys implies a specific plan is in motion.
Andrei and Karatin are talking again. About the bracelet Arson supposedly made for Christina. Why? A secret relationship. What's the symbolism of gold? Trying to figure out Arson's motive.
Karatin then subtly plants a photo in Andrei's folder.
And offers to buy the folder from Andrei, but implies Andrei will be the one paying somehow.
Shows Karatin's manipulation clearly. He has his own agenda, playing a dangerous game with Andrei, planting evidence, making veiled threats.
The nun reappears, seems to control Ksenia again, reinforces her power.
Andrei then finds a mysterious box with a note. I hope you find answers. Yours D. Nadiuziev is Nadidavid Pavidi. Vasha D.
Who is D, an unknown ally? Someone leaving clues. More mystery.
We get more insight into Arson's personality, his emotional limits, can't offer comfort, just practical actions, didn't understand Ksenia's past distress.
Paints him as detached, maybe incapable of empathy, could explain his potential for violence.
Andrei floats a theory about the killer's motive. Not romance, but resentment. Christina giving attention to others, leading to a forced encounter, maybe sexual violence.
A darker, more twisted motive than just a relationship gone wrong.
Oxy suddenly asks Andrei if he wants children.
Random question. Or does it mean something? Probing him, hinting at something about herself. Or the theme of loss.
Then the beast, presumably Arson, breaks into Ksenia's room.
Confirms she's in immediate danger, and likely confirms Arson's role as a direct threat.
Andrei finds the Minotaur Cafe empty. Karatin confronts him there, presents him with a stark choice.
What choice?
Save the person being framed Svoboda, or save the actual killer, maybe Ksenia, who is now in danger herself.
Wow. A huge moral dilemma for Andrei, forces him to choose between two terrible options, highlights the cruelty of this world.
And then the aftermath. Svoboda's body is seen hanging from the police station.
Grim. Andrei remembers trying to leave Busky sad before, and Karatin stopping him, asking if he needs to repeat the experience.
Andrei says, enough? Dose it? And Karatin tells him to get gasoline.
Suggests this is cyclical, a recurring nightmare, and Karatin seems to be controlling Andrei's fate, his actions. Very mysterious power dynamic.
Andrei's car then goes off the road. He flashes back to a previous breakdown after another accident. He was insisting Christina was laughing, showing doctors a book. Valera told him just to play along.
Reveals past trauma, links Christina to his psychological state, suggests his grip on reality might be fragile, his memory's unreliable.
Valera advises him now, move on, write a book, forget it.
But Andrei won't let go. still determined to find the killer. Even though months have passed since Nadia disappeared, little hope left. He insists doing the right thing matters more.
Shows his unwavering moral core, despite everything.
The doctor, Yevhen Pavlovich, realizes the mayor's going to turn the lights on, regardless of the methane danger Zakhar warned about, so the doctor lifts a drain cover.
Preparing an escape route suggests he knows disaster is coming, and maybe he's involved in why.
Valera stops Andrei from confronting a man in a boat Sholoviku-Chovny who claims he's just fishing.
Valera protecting someone raises questions about Valera's loyalties. Is he part of the cover-up?
Karitin gives Andrei a final, ominous warning. Tells him he has to cross a metaphorical bridge by sunset. With a coin in his mouth, a Greek obol Karitin gives him, or he'll die.
Introduces this mystical, symbolic task, the obol, payment for the ferryman of the dead, suggests a journey across the threshold, a confrontation with death itself. High stakes.
The narration then shifts tone. Talks about tears washing away lies, returning to innocence. Suggests saving Nadia could offer Ksenia real memories, a chance for redemption.
Redemption for Ksenia's past actions, maybe. On the other side of the Tuan River, Rikikinon, a name echoing mythology, the underworld, offers a sliver of hope amidst the darkness.
The doctor tries to play dumb about Christina's murder, then leaves the medical station quickly.
But Ksenia confirms it. He was the killer. Also killed Ludmila, and a girl from the pharmacy, the Apteka. Finally identifies the doctor as a central villain.
Ksenia then confronts the doctor. Down in the sewer collector, Kanalizatsinya collector.
He attacks her with a canister and a knife. Sets up the final, dangerous showdown.
Valera asks for news later. The doctor gives a bleak prognosis for someone. Serious blood loss. Leaves us hanging who got hurt.
Creates intense suspense about the outcome of that fight.
And the very last thing, the sound and feeling of a distant explosion.
Ominous. Unresolved. Leaves us with this sense of lingering chaos. Suggests the cycle of violence in Buski. Sad isn't over, just unease.
So yeah, after that deep dive into this really fragmented world from the book excerpts, we're left with so many loose ends, right? These tangled characters all operating in this place full of uncertainty, deception.
Absolutely. We've navigated through unreliable narrators, really unsettling events, and just that pervasive feeling of dread. The nature of reality itself in Buski Sad feels, well, slippery, shaped by lost memories, manipulation, maybe even supernatural stuff.
Which brings us to the big question for you, listening. What do you make of it all? What do you think is the true nature of reality in Buski Sad? What forces are pulling the strings, messing with people's heads?
Yeah, think about those themes we kept hitting on. Memory, how fragile it is here. Guilt, it hangs heavy on so many characters. And that faint possibility of redemption. How do they all weave together in this darkness?
And what about that final explosion? What does that signal for the future of this town, for the people trapped there?
We hope this deep dive has given you, a good starting point. A foundation to go back to the source material yourself, explore its complexities, and maybe find your own answers in the shadows of Buski Sad.